Hey, what's good? Shout out to the hottest chat in the MF and game. A-side official. No negotiations needed, period. You know, WCS is back in the building. I just have one topic to talk about today, right? First of all, salute to the supporters. I appreciate y'all always pulling up to the channel. I tried my damnedest. I wanted to do a live today and have a panel, but the minutes on the clock was falling off like loose change, man. So we'll get back to it another day. But salute to the ones who was a part of the hottest chat in the MF and game, man. It's only one. There's been a lot of talk. Shout out to Stickum Boys, man. What's good? What's good? In traffic, man. But it's been a lot of talk about this Ennis and Canelo Ennis collaboration. A collaboration to help with what exactly? And the reason why I'm saying that, it's not coming from a space of maliciousness. It's not. You know, it's not coming from a space of maliciousness. You know, I'm not being malicious with it. All I'm saying is, I just don't see the point in them sparring one another and how it's supposed to benefit Canelo. Because I know where people are going with it. I haven't really been tuning in. I've just been looking at titles, but I'm gonna tell you from what I think. People, whether they're casuals, temporaries, hardcores, or whatever, right? They've been trying their damnedest to convince us, the ones who's really locked in and understand what boxing is about. They've been trying to convince us for quite some time that Jerron Boots Ennis is Terrence Crawford. 2 point, 3 point, whatever they want to do. Hey, they want to say he can switch hit like Terrence, all that. And there's some people that's not looking into that. All I'm hearing is, oh man, you know, Jerron Ennis sold out. He was never on Team Crawford's side to sell him out, okay? Let's get that out. He was never on Team Crawford's side. Over there at that stable, man, they hated on Crawford whenever they had a chance. Especially when he was leading up to fight Spence. They hated on him whenever he had a chance, yo. So he was never on Team Crawford. They always criticize everything he did, but yet he can't emulate not one move Crawford made, moving up the division and fighting the champion. Anyway, back to what I was saying about him actually sparring Jerron Ennis because he's a switch hitter, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? He can give him some movement, some different looks. Hey, man, I want to break this news to you. I don't know how you're going to take it, but it has to be said, and what better person for me to verbalize it? Jerron Ennis is not Terrence Crawford, yo. Jerron Ennis is not Terrence Crawford. Now I can understand Canelo going over there because Ennis presents versatility in his style that he has. I can understand that. I'm not expunging that from why his intentions is the way it is. Canelo going over there and sparring Ennis. I'm not taking that away. Ennis is very athletic. You know, he has multifacets to his skill set when he decides to paint that picture for us. It's beautiful. On the other hand, Jerron Ennis is not Terrence Bud Crawford. There's nobody currently in this game that's Crawford. You know why? See, what I've seen and assessed from Crawford is that in certain situations, depending on who places him there, depending on how he got there, Crawford's boxing IQ is a lot more advanced than majority of the fighters that's in the game. I'm talking about Crawford's in the top 1%. Crawford is in the top 1% with his boxing IQ. So when it comes with athleticism, boxing IQ, and then the decision making that you have to take into place as to who's in front of you, what you decide to do, when you want to do it to that particular person, it's very, very important on how you delegate that authority. How you delegate your boxing curriculum at the time that you need to do it in the right moment that it's effective to disrupt your opponent's rhythm. That's all I'm saying. Ennis ain't Crawford. I don't care how many tapes you look at. I don't care how many times you try to emulate Terrence Bud Crawford, man. His boxing IQ alone with his straight raw talent that he's tuned up over the years, it's just on a super high level. It's on the elite pound for pound status. Jaron Ennis haven't shown that he can operate in that setting at such a high level. So all Canelo is doing is going over there against someone with the versatility of a Jaron Ennis. But that doesn't mean that Crawford, in the same moment, is going to give him that. I mean, it has been said through folklore and mythological evidence that sits out there from the ghosts that be, that Terrence Crawford has not dipped into his bag of tricks, even when it gets closer to October, because you know September is closer to October. Will we see Canelo force Crawford to dip in his bag of tricks and show us that hidden magic that it's been said that he has and nobody's been able to force him to use? I want to see that. You know, I want to see that shit right there. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you, y'all. Jaron Ennis is not Terrence Crawford. We must reiterate that, emphasize it, underscore it, put parentheses around it. You know what I'm saying? Air quotes, all that shit. Jaron Ennis, you're not Terrence Crawford, so I don't feel no type of way. You know, he can go over there and dance around in front of Canelo. Cool. But would he do that if he was fighting Canelo? Would he be able to execute those same similarities that you're going over there to get, Canelo? If you was in the ring with Ennis, do you wholeheartedly believe and respect the fact that he'd be able to do that on you? I think Canelo knows, point blank period, that Crawford is a dangerous fighter, and there are certain aspects to Crawford's game, his technique, his ring generalship, that's going to be highly effective and efficacious to him and Canelo going through some adversity together. I don't know if Jaron Ennis and Terrence Crawford will ever, perform on the same IQ level, even when Crawford retires. What I mean by that, I don't know if Jaron Ennis, if he stays, this man keeps talking about he's 28 years old, if he stays in the sport long enough for us to see his best fights. He said he wanted to unify him undisputed in 4 divisions. He's already failed us on 1. He's up to 54 now. That's a heavy division. I want to see him shine up there at 54. But it's adorable that him and Canelo is together. You know what I'm saying? It's just like going to the skating ring. You invite one of your counterparts. Hey, man, you want to go skate? I know you don't skate that much, but you want to go skating? You're not about to do that. Are you stupid? You're not about to goddamn slide your ass in this one spot so I can hit you in the back. Are you stupid? Come on, man. What are these people down here in the A thinking? They be wanting to get lawsuits, man. You must be a Jaron Ennis fan, trying to goddamn slide in that little ass spot, knowing goddamn well your vehicle too big. What the hell y'all thinking down here? But back to what I was saying. I don't know who all agree with me in how to chat in the MFing game, right? But that's just what I think about this. Canelo could go in there and get the snapshots for appeal. You know what I'm saying? Get the snapshots for appeal. That's all. You know? Hold on for a second, y'all. I had to take that call, y'all. I had to take that call. But like I was saying, shout out to everybody that's in the chat. BG, what's good? I see you, man. I'm trying to pay attention to this goddamn race way down here. But Joseph Bailey, what's good? What's good? But as I was saying, yeah, you know, they can get together all they want and take snapshots, do whatever they want to do. You know what I'm saying? It's training at the end of the day. It's getting to the end of fight camp. They got you know, about a couple more weeks or whatever. So this happens in fight camps. They want to get a fighter. That just goes to show you, Canelo Ennis is the one who's getting the most exposure by going over there. Timothy Bradley believes that Ennis is sold out. Then some other people believing that he's a mole. I don't know and don't care really, because I don't believe that Crawford and Bomac them really need to know what they already have studied. They said they've been studying Canelo. So why would they need Canelo Ennis to be a mole? That doesn't seem realistic, nor does it seem genuine to me. Because they've been studying Canelo so long, the Canelo style haven't switched up. It's not like he's coming in here with a whole nother freaking skill set or strategy. I mean, the strategy may switch up a little bit on how he goes about those 12 rounds. But besides that, him going over there trying to get with a switch hitter, man, come on now. Ennis can go through the numbers. That's one thing he can do very well. Ennis can go through the numbers now. He can definitely go through the numbers. Hey, I want to see this, I want to see that, I want to see this. But if Canelo is even trying to convince us that he believes that Ennis will be able to perform that way in front of him as if they was gracing the square for one night, he don't believe that. You know, you're talking about all the fighters that Canelo has mentioned as being the greatest fighters in the game right now. Ennis's name never come up yet. His name doesn't come up yet. That's why I don't put too much value, stock into Canelo sparring Ennis. You can go through the numbers all day long. You know what I'm saying? You can go through the freaking dance numbers all day long, but that doesn't mean Ennis will be able to do it. You spar Crawford, there's certain things Crawford going to be doing, and you saying to yourself, yeah, he can do that in the ring. Yeah, he can definitely execute that. Okay, definitely that. I mean, you're going to be convinced that Crawford can do this in the ring. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be convinced. You're not going to be convinced that Ennis can pull off certain frames and snapshots that Team Canelo want him to perform. No. I don't agree. I don't agree at all. You're not going to convince me of that. Nor am I feeling some type of way that Canelo's going to be a reborn fighter because he went in there and sparred Canelo Ennis. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. And like I said in my title, it's adorable. It's good that Ennis get that exposure. It is. It's good he gets that exposure. He gets to spar Canelo. You know, I can only imagine how much goddamn glazing went on in that sparring session. Hey, Jerron Ennis is probably up there with some camouflage on, standing in position of attention, waiting for Canelo to give him the next order. Aye, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Aye, sir. See you tomorrow, sir. Thank you, sir. Please call me back in the future, sir. Man, he was probably up there trying to get meritorious promoted in that sparring session. Giving hand salutes in between combinations. Yes, sir. I respect, sir. He was probably saluting with both goddamn hands, man. For real. It was probably a lot of glazing, thick glaze on that motherfucker. For real. Boy, there was so much glaze in that bitch, boy. It was damn near hard for both fighters to stand up in there and get their footing. Boy, I bet that goddamn glaze factor on that canvas was unbelievable. Looked like the Arctic. It looked like the Arctic cap over there in Philly. It was hot outside, but you go up to that gym, that motherfucker, it was ice coming out the door. There was so much glazing going on. Ice glazing in that bitch. But I don't want to sound like a hater. I don't want to sound like a hater. To be honest with you, I just don't want to sound like that. I want to sound like I'm a boxing fan and I understand what the regs, I understand what's going on and all that. And these particular situations do present themselves. You know, I'm not feeling that type of way. Not at all. I don't want to give y'all the impression that that's the case, but you know, I just remember Team Ennis cloud chasing, hating on Crawford so much. Now Canelo goes to them. You go to them to say, we want you to get some sparring in with us and give us some snapshots of Crawford, because you're a switch hitter and we believe that you're a Crawford 2.0. Buddy, I don't believe that. I don't believe that right there. You gotta convince me otherwise. Hey, just like on this tunnel, hey, that's how it's gonna be for Canelo on September 13th. It's gonna be lights in the arena. It's gonna be a dark, dark time, goddamn it. Because Eddie Reynoso and Canelo are gonna be in the 6th round, and they're gonna be like, goddamn it, Pluto, we wasted our time fucking with Ennis. We wasted our mother effing time. Reynoso, you're fired. You're fired. I told you it wasn't working. Crawford's beat my ass. That shit Ennis was doing don't work. Hey man, don't be mad at me. Just a little human to go along with a concern. That's all. Just a little human to go along with a concern. I'm saying to myself, how do they believe this right here? You know what I'm saying? I mean, this right here is going to benefit Canelo when the mind has to be there. You got to be convinced that this fighter that you're getting to take snapshots and formulate somewhat of a strategy by giving you certain aspects of his game that Crawford may indeed use September 13th. You got to be convinced that fighter in front of you will be able to use them on you. Canelo, you can't sit up here and get somebody who can take you through a dance routine. This ain't fame, nigga. The fuck you talking about? This ain't fame. Fame. He's gonna live forever. He's gonna learn tonight. Man, come on, yo. You can't sit up there and get goddamn Leroy and that bitch to teach you how to fight. Come on, man. I ain't talking about the Leroy from, goddamn karate or show enough or whatever. No, I'm talking about Leroy who was dancing in the motherfucking movie Fame, goddammit. How is this supposed to work? Anyway, man, y'all hold it down, man. I just wanted to give my my little bit of insight as to my thought process in this whole debacle that I'm seeing with Canelo and Jaron Ennis. It is such a touching moment, and to be honest with you, I don't think it's gonna work at all. To be honest with you, it's really just a way to say, you know what, let's go over here to this dance studio and work on a little bit of routines. But I'm being as honest as I possibly can. You have to somewhat believe that the fighter that you in there with can be able to execute those type of techniques on you. You know what I'm saying? So Jessica, what's going on? Boxing Queen in the building. You got to be able to believe that Jaron Ennis can execute those specific techniques that you're working on, those different frames that you all have extracted to believe that Crawford will definitely be using that September 13th. You got to believe that Jaron Ennis is that guy to be able to do it in there with Canelo, and I don't think so. I don't think so. It's not at all many fighters that you can get to spar you and prepare you for Crawford, and you believe that they'll be able to be the ones. Because as we know, outside of Gennady Golovkin, we're not talking about Floyd. Okay? We're not talking about Floyd. That's a no-brainer. But outside of Gennady Golovkin, after Floyd, there haven't been many 50-50 fights from a fighter with 65 pro fights. But then again, they'll turn around and say the same thing for Crawford, when they was up here saying, well, he ain't fought nobody, but he was going in there, and they was saying he was a small fighter, but they really didn't automatically give him a check mark when he was going in there, you know, as he continued to elevate and advance his competition. They didn't really give him the check mark because, you know, he wasn't out here in the media and doing whatever. So I know they're going to come, you know, I'm speaking on the left, and they're going to speak on the right. I get it. But Canelo really haven't had 50-50 fights of opponents. When Crawford was set to go in there with Spence, guess what? That fight wasn't nowhere close to the way the paperwork, the administrative paperwork said it should be. 2 pound-for-pound fighters shoulder to shoulder on the list together. We seen them. You look up one, you see the other. They was always together on the pound-for-pound list. What you up to, twin? Not much, twin. You still up here, twin? Yeah, we're still up here, twin. Okay, you know we're gonna fight soon. I know, twin. I'm ready. You know, they was up there on the list together, yo. But the fight played out totally different, man. The fight played out incredibly, I wouldn't say opposite, but unexpectedly. The fight played out unexpectedly than we ever could imagine on how easily Crawford dispersed of Errol Spence. Canelo, he hasn't had a fight like Crawford had with Errol Spence. He didn't disperse of Gennady Golovkin like that. It hasn't been a fighter on Canelo's resume that went in there that had the administrative paperwork that Errol Spence had, and he went in there and dusted them off. He didn't dust off Triple G in 3 fights. Even when he had at least about 7 fights in between the rematch that they had up to when he fought him, and Triple G was on the goddamn porch rocking and shit. You know, goddamn crocheting some motherfucking blankets, smoking on a pipe. He still didn't do anything. I mean, he still didn't do anything. Triple G still went the distance. So really, I mean, name a fighter that Canelo went in there and it was somewhat set up like Crawford Spence and he dusted them off. Too easy. It's not one. It's not one on his record. So we're looking at this fight with Crawford and Canelo as a 50-50 fight. Now, yes, there's a lot of people that are unwilling to allow their thought process to calibrate this intel. They refuse. They have all these goddamn mental blockers up, firewalls, these configurations that they put up every freaking day when they out there hating. They refuse to see any type of change. You know what I'm saying? Like, this fight is different in many ways. They refuse to give it a 50-50 fight because they so blinded by Canelo and what he's been able to do. But if you itemize both fighters, they both have discrepancies on their resume. But when you're talking about the potential of this mega fight, what the potential may be on the outcome is incredible. I mean, incredible. I mean, just the roar and the buzz of the crowd from the ring walk. I mean, it's going to be unsettling, y'all. The ambiance of that Allegiant Stadium. I mean, we're going in here. Those fights are going to be going in there for history. I mean, significant history. Canelo is defending his titles. But he's going in there with the opportunity to settle the score. A score that people, the crazy part about it, people was like, there's some people out there that's saying that I feel that Crawford's not going to win. But that's just because they don't want to be on record as losing hope for Canelo. But they know it's a dangerous fight. They know it's a dangerous fight for Canelo. You have a fighter moving up 2 weight classes, extremely talented, high-level elite boxer, been on the pound for pound longer than anyone. He's been up there. And he's a 4-weight champion, just like Canelo. And they both are 2-division undisputed. I'm talking about they have a mantle of accolades for which they're collected in their boxing career. When they get to that arena and split the ropes and go in there and get introduced, yo, this shit is going to be unbelievable. You never know what that type of energy can do to a fighter. You never know what the type of energy when a fighter lands a shot, the reaction that the crowd noise gives. You know, you never know how it's going to frenetic a crowd. You don't know. But for the fighters, that's where, you know, I come into play and thinking that from a mutual standpoint, both fighters, for me, is going to supersede any ceiling that they ever been in their boxing career. For real, even for Canelo. I think this fight right here, regardless of his Billy Joe Saunders moment, his Caleb Plant moment, this fight for both, when they do that ring walk, when they start to really feel the energy and the method to the madness that the crowd is going to give them every shot they land, it's just like I would say this, and I'm pretty sure these boxers go to a point where when they're in the ring, they don't too much hit a crowd. When I used to hit certain speeds on my bike, especially at night, right? And I'll be taking them turns, it get to a point where if you saw biker boys, it's a reason why they put that tunnel vision up there. That's a real thing. When your adrenaline get to a certain point, based off something that you know how to do very well, you don't hear certain things. And I think this is going to be one of those fights where these fighters are going to be in a capsule and they're going to be fighting each other. And for a moment, they're not going to really be paying attention to the crowd. Just like going through curves, you start to see your headlight. You get to a point where you don't even hear your bike no more. You're going from turn to turn, and you feel yourself dragging. You feel the pavement. You dragging knee, and all you know you're on the throttle, but you don't hear shit. It's just turn for turn, turn for turn. I think it's gonna be punch for punch in boxing Well, that environment in Allegiant Stadium is just going to be at an entirely crazy volume, yo. And both fighters are going to have to go to levels of thresholds that they felt that they knew was there. I mean, in fight camp, they know there's going to be a threshold that they're going to have to cross. As a hardcore Crawford fan, I don't see him running through Canelo. I don't see Canelo running through Crawford. I do see Bud Crawford putting on a boxing lesson to Canelo. I just believe when it comes to his entire, the school of hard knocks, Terrence Crawford's experience outside of the ring, what he's always had to prove to himself, his mentality, his dog nation's mentality, how he is, how intelligent he is as a fighter, how tough he is. I'm not saying Canelo's not tough. I'm just saying it's a different type of viciousness that I haven't really seen Canelo get into in there. It's a certain level of vicious mentality, vicious intent that Crawford has. And he's been criticized for that. I don't know if Canelo is going to be able to force Crawford to stick out his tongue. He might. But there's been several fights where Crawford hasn't stuck his tongue out. You feel me? When Crawford get hit with a good shot, either he can miss the whooping ass, or he give you the telltale sign that, I felt that shot. And things about to get uncomfortable for you. I felt the shot. He'll let you know. He'll stick the tongue out. Okay, you got me. Okay, but hold on. Don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. I got some return mail for you. I got some return motherfucking mail. Don't go nowhere, goddamn. Nope, your signature ain't needed. But I'm going to FedEx this shit to you, though. Crawford said, I'm going to FedEx this shit to you. But anyway, people, it's always good to chop it up with y'all, you know what I'm saying? Because, goddamn it, we are at a point right now, goddamn it, the days are ticking away. We damn near September 1st. I've been sitting back chilling. It's gonna get rough. When September hit, some of you been acting like stray hoes, man. How can you not look at my catalog and see how I speak about certain things? And y'all want to act like shit is different. Shit ain't different, man. It's the same, But y'all hold it down, man. We'll talk again. Shout out to the hottest chat in the MFing game. A-Side Official. I'm out.